Deep in the South Country, driving down a lone highway at night sounds ideal. This is especially true if you're a loner with no friends or family and in desperate need of a well-paying job. Maybe you're a truck driver looking for a quick route, thinking that the backroads would be perfect for that. Little traffic and new experiences to have to break the monotony of daily travels on the open road. You may want spooky things to happen so you can talk about them to your friends or even brag about them later in your life, telling everyone how you survived the most horrific encounter with a creature on the road. The thought of watching the skinwalker walk around your vehicle as you hold onto the door, desperately praying for someone to come save. Only to live another day and post it online for that good old spooky story addict to read. I don't knock anyone down if that's what you want to do. Hell, the more stories the better to me. It gives me things to listen to and conversations to start in the dead of night when I reach a gas station or rest stop. Hell, you may even run into me, you never know. I'm on the younger side, so if you do spot me, I'd probably surprise you for the type of job field I'm in. Usually, truckers and night drivers are older folks who have made it a career, yet I honestly would surprise you given I don't fit that mold. If you drive late deep in the night way out in the middle of nowhere and haven't seen a gas station for an hour or so, then you have crossed the line into what I call the Evernight. In the Evernight, you only have you, your thoughts, and whatever vehicle you're driving down the lone road. Be warned, these are the most dangerous times because you're alone out there where help is few and far between. Maybe you will see another soul on the other side of that lane driving past you. Or you may find one of the many horrors that the Evernight holds in store for us night owls. God help you if you must go through those experiences, because they will stick with you for a long time, never ceasing their replays in the back of your mind. Now, you might be wondering what sort of experiences I've had during these journeys. Let me share one notable encounter. It was with a young man, roughly my age, who seemed like the kind of guy you'd expect to find at a nightclub or a lively frat house party. A surprising presence in the desolation of the forgotten lands of the US, he had the energy and charisma of a hype man, and I couldn't help but wonder if it was a way to keep himself awake during the long, solitary drives. He confessed that he was a newcomer to the world of night driving, having taken up this unconventional job at 25. Being 3 years my senior, I was curious about how he had found his way into this line of work. He smirked at my question and simply said, "Podcasts." It left me intrigued, wondering how a medium as innocuous as podcasts had led him down this path. I was staring at him blankly, expecting him to elaborate. However, when he didn't say anything further, I asked for further explanation of what that had to do with anything. He clarified that what he meant was he was a big fan of creepypasta, a form of horror story sharing that was mostly online. As if that was supposed to satisfy my question. I nodded to his statement and sipped my drink. We were sitting at the cafe table in the gas station. He spotted me drinking a cup of coffee and thought it would be ideal to sit across from me and say hello. Not wanting to be rude, I naturally spoke to him and asked him that question. "So, you started this job because of podcasts? Night driving, that is?" I wanted to understand how such a small thing could pull someone into the tired, dangerous world of night driving. After all, it was an unconventional career choice for people our age. Nodding as he drank some of his tea, he said, "Yeah, I love creepypastas and shit like that, those horror stories online." I remember getting super into it for one night driving from my old job. I loved them so much I thought, shit, I could get a driving job and just explore, enjoy the road, and just listen to podcasts and horror stories. Like this guy, check him out. Probably already of him, his name is Corpse Husband. The dude's balls dropped when he was born. His shit is creepy as fuck, you know him, right? He read horror stories and stuff. There's a few more like MCP and other dudes, but you get the point. Damn, I thought. He does not shut up. I nodded and told him that I had heard of them. I explained my love for horror and how I would listen to them frequently when I had nights where I just couldn't sleep. The number of stories I had listened to was insane. I played videos on YouTube since the days of old. He was excited and continued with his explanation. So, I listened to these stories and thought I wanted to experience something like that. Well, not something I'd die from, but it'd be cool to have something to post online about, you know. I nodded. That makes sense for a guy like him, since he seems like the time to do things on a whim. I drank some more coffee and asked him, "So that's why you travel the darkest, most remote roads? Like this one? That's a hell of a commitment for simple interests," I said, placing the cup down. He frowned a little and spoke, saying, "Well, yeah, that's a big part of my reasons for being out here and exploring. The pay for these jobs is good, but if I am being real, it's mostly because of my ex. Crazy, you know? But if God didn't make Latinas with no spicy, then there would be no fun in life, am I wrong?" "Uh-huh, yeah, I gotcha. So, any interesting stories now that you've been out here driving?" I asked, peeking at the time from my watch. 2:23 a.m., it read. Should get moving. I think I spent way too much time at this gas station, but it can't hurt to chat a little longer. He smiled, but it was kind of nervous. "Yeah, I got a couple, but nothing like serial killers or werewolves, but my scariest encounter happened 3 days ago. In between Oklahoma and Louisiana, getting out of the bayous. While driving down a long-ass stretch of road, I had to piss. Needed to find an anthill to flood, you know. So, I got out of the truck and started doing my business when I heard a snap." He paused for a bit. I noticed while he spoke, he got a little more serious. His expression hardened slightly as he continued. "Well, I couldn't see what made the sound since the light of the truck was blinding, so I stepped more out to where it came from. I know what you're thinking, fucking stupid, right? No shit, but go on." I urged him as my curiosity had been thoroughly piqued. He drank some of his drink and went on. "So, I walked to the side of the truck and peered more out into the darkness looking for whatever it was. I stared into the darkness, and you know what? Shit went dead quiet, like someone shot a gun next to your ear and all you could hear is that ringing noise. You know when the world is so still that's all you can hear. I just felt something was wrong. You know when you just can feel it in your gut that you shouldn't open the door? Or answer the phone call? Something like that. Hell, the best description I can give is when you're holding the phone texting someone and they're giving you news, but somehow you just know it's bad. Dread is the word. Fucking never felt that way before until that moment." He was speaking more quietly now. Like as if retelling the story is putting in that spot again. I waited patiently for him, giving him a moment as he was lost in thought, or so it seemed. He resumed his tale with a voice a little more softly. "I didn't see anything there, but I thought I saw an outline or something, but I couldn't be sure. Honestly, my eyes were as useful as my fucking art degree. Since I didn't see anything, I thought I did, but nope, nothing. So, turning back to my truck, I had no reason to stay there, so I'd just leave, but as I turned my back to the forest line, I heard something hitting the floor. The moment I heard that, I bolted for the door and jumped into the truck and got the fuck out of there. I don't think I even got my ass in the seat properly, I just floored it out of them. Have you ever heard something run at you in the middle of the damn woods?" I saw him shake in fear. I took a glance in the review mirror when I had gotten into the truck. "And you know what I saw?" he asked, looking at me. I shook my head no and leaned in to catch his words as he continued his story, drinking more of the coffee and looking out into the lot. He shivered then with a cold stare as he spoke to me. "I saw deer standing in the middle of the road staring at me as I drove off. And it was more than one of those empty-eyed stares those fucks give out. I counted 5 deer in total as I left. All 5 of them standing and walking on 2 hind legs. I raised an eyebrow, trying to imagine the situation in my mind and understand his sense of fear, however I couldn't, even though this event could easily play out in the same way with me. So, you got caught lacking by a deer is what you're saying? Like, I can see how that's scary, but I don't know if the fear was warranted after you drove off. You could laugh it off, right? But shit sounds intense." I tried to lighten the mood. He gulped his drink and looked out into the dim, lifeless parking lot. I took a glance as well, staring at the company I drive, and began to wonder what I could do in a similar situation, but the more I pondered, the more I understood that this is real life, not a game, not a show with convenient plot armor that would result in me being saved. I overheard him say, "You know, I bet this will get me some clicks on Reddit when I post it." That took me by surprise. "Sorry, what? You want fame out of that horror story?" Yet you do realize you could have died if it was some serial killer, right? I know, and that's why it'll be such a fucking fantastic read. Bro, you know how many people eat up that horror shit? I could post it to TikTok or even just YouTube. He shouted. I shook my head and watched him finish off the rest of his Cheetos quickly. I don't know what to say. I'm glad you're safe, but I have to get going. It's getting late, and I still have 3 more hours to go. I started for the door, hearing his chair being pushed out, only to hear him call out to me. Hey, I forgot my name, Marcus. He said, following me out into the parking lot. I'll see you on the road, brother. He said, heading over to the side of the building where the restrooms were located. As I began to walk to my vehicle, I couldn't help but notice Marcus's massive Ford parked proudly under the gas station streetlight. Right there, in the center of the Ford's grille, was a set of deer antlers, seemingly stuffed in place. A little bit of blood stained the front of the truck, transforming the once nice gray paint into a mix of rustic red on gray. Strangely, most of the blood appeared to be on the driver's side. I couldn't understand how that was possible. Forgetting to mention details about the story, perhaps? I entered my car and started it up. As I began to slowly drive off, the gears in my head started turning when my mind realized. He said he encountered deer that stood up and walked right? But that was only after he was driving off. So why did he have the antlers stuck in his truck? Honestly, I didn't have the energy to jump out and ask him, nor did I want to. As I drove past his truck on my way to the main road, I noticed something. A hand stuck out from the back of the tailgate where a small gap was. In that gap, I could see a pair of eyes staring into mine. Very familiar eyes, although these were glazed over with a milky appearance. I halted the vehicle and took time to get a hard look at the eyes that displayed dying fear trapped within them. During that brief pause, I saw Marcus come from the side of the gas station. He waited by the entrance for a minute, just looking at me, his confident frat boy smile being emulated perfectly to what I can only imagine how the real one looked. It had the same facial features as the face staring back at me from that gap in the truck. The thing that mimicked his body smiled widely, his mouth contorting from a once confident grin into a malicious smirk of confidence. Like a hunter who knew he had his prey in front of him, his once brown eyes very beady and hidden in the shadowy darkness. I gave him a small goodbye nod as I got onto the main road and proceeded to go down the highway. Next time I should be more attentive to who I am speaking with and who is around me. I kicked myself mentally for not fully paying attention to the person before me. Like the thing wanted to use the new suit and show it off. I could have been the perfect target, but I guess the killers need to practice wearing other skins before they become pros about it. Checking the time, I knew I had to drive fast down the empty road. Driving in this Evernight is horrible when you encounter creeps like Marcus, or rather the thing that looked like Marcus that have those beady brown eyes that stare into your soul. Honestly, I felt guilty to have met him. I didn't know his story fully, but I sadly know his ending. Something his family may never know. Hopefully, this small tale helps you understand why I posted this here. Somehow you must get things off your chest. That, and I guess sharing a moment with that thing helped inspire me to write about my encounter with it. Maybe the real Marcus did want his story to get out there, I hope. This also helps get the memory out of my head. I've seen many things in my time in the Evernight. You can meet anyone or anything, and they do make for interesting stories. Albeit if you're not experiencing the potential life-death game the creatures tend to play, there are plenty more stories I can tell you, maybe sometime later since I have a busy schedule. But who knows? Till then, please take care and have safe travels. Oh, and please, for the love of God, if you do drive in the Evernight, keep a gun on you.